Good morning. It's Tom Padula from TomPadulaTV on YouTube and the Insegna Booksellers. And this morning is a very important moment for me because I'm picking up again with Dante Alighieri's work, the Paradiso from La Divina Commedia. And I have taken a long break since August. So I feel refreshed. And last week, 3 days ago, my sister Carmela passed away, and I thought Paradiso. She was called, actually. She was married to Carmela Padula Paradiso. That was her surname, a married surname. And of course, it's a very sad moment, but I like to reflect on the fact that Dante's work is relevant to our life and to when we pass away. We don't know where we're going, but if you have faith, and my sister had faith, she should be in paradise. But who knows? God has mysterious ways of handling souls. But from my opinion, she had lived a good life with a husband, children, grandchildren, and also having an open house for people from all over the world that came from our town or relatives, because she lived in Rome and also went to church on Sundays, and she's quite a woman. And and thank you very much to all those people who send messages of condolences to me and to my family in general. And this morning I start again with Paradiso. It'll be La Divina Commedia, Canto 4, and today is the 12th of November, 2023. I didn't write it down. Oh, well, never mind, you can do it now. 2023. And it's a Sunday. And I promised that, I've said to myself, I've got to finish this work, but also this week I will be continuing with French, then world history, and then Italian. So I've sort of reorganized myself again with the time that I have. I don't promise to be as strict on myself as in the past. If I need to not to be on live, I can't promise when I'm on, but because of the system, then these particular online live presentations will remain on Facebook, and then they will be transferred as well to YouTube and Insegna.com, etc., etc. Now, what I'm going to do this morning is Canto 4 of Paradiso, and I think that this is an interesting one. Now, I have to pick up again, so the best thing for me to do is to actually read some notes. It's 11:55, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to respect the fact that I do a 5-minute presentation before a 5-minute introduction before my presentation. Okay, so Canto 4 of Paradiso, and welcome to Tony Angelino. That's very nice of you to come back to me. And from this week onwards, from this Sunday onwards, leading up to Christmas and beyond, I will try to do all my major works online. That is Divina Commedia, then French, then world history, and then Italian on Friday. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the time I'll be able to do it, and Sunday will be like at this time, and Tuesday It'll be in the afternoon there at Insegna. The world history on Thursday will be done here from home, and Friday I'll do Italian from Insegna. It's all organised. I'm enjoying this very much, and I've had time to reflect on what I do. Okay, so here we go with Canto 4. A little bit of an analysis first, okay? Beatrice perceives that Dante feels torn between two questions, so she seeks to resolve his doubts. Dante's first question, she says, is how a person's merit can justly be reduced if that person was violently forced to do something against their will. So we got Picard, they'll be mentioned here, the women who were forced to do things that they didn't want to do, but they had to do it. They were forced to do it. So did they do the wrong thing, etc. Secondly, Dante is surprised that human souls appear to return to their allotted stars, a fact that seems to vindicate Plato rather than Christianity. Now, Plato is a Greek philosopher, and I enjoyed myself. Cidia di Benedetto is watching. That's interesting. Plato is a Greek philosopher. Was a lot of the theology from Christianity was picked up from his philosophy as well. And that was 300-400 years before the birth of Christ. So Plato, an important philosopher. In fact, I studied him in my philosophy class at university when I first got there. In this canto, Beatrice embodies the quest for truth, eliminating Dante's doubts because of her greater insight, which she possesses because she's already in union with God. So, what happens to souls if you're already in paradise? And Beatrice is blessed, and you sort of got to your place there. So Dante cannot access her knowledge of the afterlife because it's just going through Paradiso. And then at the end of it, he doesn't actually, when he's in the presence of God, he then returns to Florence. and the Divina Commedia finishes there. Okay, let's go on. Dante's first question, God's justice, which is a matter of God's character, is also troubled by the apparent harmony between what he sees in heaven and the teaching of pre-Christian Greek philosopher Plato. So that's what I'll mention that. And, Divina Commedia, the Paradiso, is about God's justice. How does he do it? And how does he use compassion as well? So welcome to Angela Imola as well. Okay, Beatrice. Now, Beatrice addresses the second question first because it's the question that's more likely to lead Dante astray from his faith. So the second question, God's justice. She explains that no soul resides anywhere besides the Empyrean, which is the highest level of paradise, the highest sphere where God himself dwells. However, these two souls have appeared in a lower sphere in order to signify their relative level of blessedness, thereby adapting to Dante's limited understanding. For all souls, regardless of where they dwell, life is sweet in different ways. So in other words, God has got, he's got this paradise world, and it's a big place, so he can put the people who are blessed to be in his kingdom, because paradise is the kingdom of God. Whereas Purgatorio is still his, and even Inferno is his, but it's a different take. Here we're looking at souls that have done their penitence and got there, and also souls who get there directly. And of course, Christ is up there with his Father, and also the Spirito Santo. Presumably, the Spirito Santo is it's all part of God. It's his kingdom. And that's where we're at the moment. So this is the Empyrean. You can't, not all souls get there. And according to Plato, when you sort of died, you sort of went into the right planet, and they made the planets like gods eventually in Greek philosophy. And then when Christ arrives, and a study of the theology, because that's Dante is a theologian in many ways. Okay, so here Beatrice distinguishes between Platonic teaching and Christian teaching. Welcome to Donata Di Masi Bellofiore. Good to see you. Basically, all souls live in heaven's highest sphere, but Picard and Costanza, you remember? You'll have to go through my other works, because now, after 3 months, I can't actually remember what I said. I'll have to look myself up too. So Picard and Costanza have appeared to Dante in a lower sphere in order to illustrate the teaching on God's variously expressed providence. And thank you to the people who have done this analysis. Because I use books and online work, etc. But when I actually am presenting it, I just do it in one go. This is the key to understanding Dante's work in general. So the thing is, Constance have appeared to Dante in a lower sphere in order to illustrate the teaching of God's variously expressed providence. So we've got justice on one side, compassion or providence on the other. And you've got to manage this too, good and evil sort of thing. But in the good, blessed state, there is a lot of blessedness, but also there's the providence. In other words, you get from heaven what you deserve, basically, in the after. But wherever you are in heaven, it's heaven. It's like Melbourne. Melbourne is Melbourne. But if you live away from Melbourne in the country, well, it's not quite, but still the state of Victoria sort of thing. So if you're happy there or here, does it matter? In paradise, a bit like that. Okay, this is key to understanding Dante's work in general. He does not intend for his account to be taken over literally. He doesn't intend his levels of heaven to be understood as absolute truths. He doesn't. He's going through it. How can he talk about the truth of paradise? Can't do it. But to accommodate theological ideas to the limitations of space and time. So his main concern really is, does the Christian church of the Middle Ages deliver theologically and according to God's truth? Who knows? You have to accept the fact that Dante was, and all the people who lived in the Middle Ages actually believed blindly. They had to believe blindly what the church, what the Pope delivered from the point of view of how to live and how to pray and etc., etc. Of course, when the Renaissance arrived, all these absolute truths, if you like, were challenged by the Renaissance. Humanism came in. There's a lot of work to be done. If you want to understand Dante, the best time to study Dante is in the Third Age, although people do it at university, etc. But I feel now is that at this time, yes. Beatrice goes on to explain that Plato's Timaeus argues something different. Plato taught that souls literally return at death to the stars from which they were formed. Though this is wrong, his teaching may have had truthful implications. Namely, that souls are influenced by the star's power for good or ill. However, people took this truth too far and ultimately turned the stars into gods. Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Pluto, etc. Platonic philosophy had a strong influence on the development of Christian theology, and Dante was familiar with Plato's account of the creation of the world in the dialogue Timaeus. However, Dante models thoughtful critique of classical models by showing where, in his opinion, Plato's teaching is reconcilable with Christian ideas. like limited belief in the star's influence, and where it is incompatible, such as belief in other deities. Now, it's one little bit more. Beatrice turns to Dante's first and less dangerous question, the seeming injustice of soul's placement in heaven. She explains that even under force, as a will is still held responsible for yielding, however slightly, to the pressure exerted upon it. Picard and Costanza, after all, could have chosen to flee when pressed. They could have been as steadfast as Saint Lawrence, who chose to be burned to death rather than betray his faith. But such strength of will is rare. So if somebody forces you to do something and you could escape it and you don't, then you have to accept some blame. That's how it is. So that's basically, that's it for now. Now let's go to the Commedia itself. I'm going to read now from the Italian. I'll do my best. I'll have a drink first. I'll do my best with the explanations, but basically the reading of Dante Alighieri needs to be done by you as well. So I have these books at Insegna. If anyone is interested, this this is a big job to be taken on. It's already 2 years that I started, so we'll see what happens. Will I be able to finish it off? But I didn't finish Inferno, and I didn't finish Purgatorio, and now I'm with the Paradiso. When I finish all this, God willing, I'll be able to say I've done it, and I'll be able to access it, because they are there in my Insegna.com, in the blog section. They are there on YouTube as well, in line. I've done a lot of work there, and there have been quite a lot of expenses too. But at the end of the day, it's a pleasure and an honor to be able to do it. And thank you to those people who come on. You encourage me with your presence. But as I said, I can't guarantee. More or less it'll be this time next week as well. Okay, so here's Canto 4. Il luogo è cielo della luna. That's the sun where the moon is. And it's the pomeriggio del 13 aprile 1300. Now, I depend, of course, on the books and the notes and the online to be able to do my presentation. Even though, it's not all my work, at least we trying to explain together with other people the importance of Dante in today's world. So, the beati sono gli spiriti che sono venuti meno ai loro voti. And the visione, le anime beate appaiono diafane ed evanescenti come immagini riflesse da vetri trasparenti e tersi o da acque nitide e tranquille. So these souls are very pure when you're looking at them. Appaiono, they appear like when you look at yourself in a mirror. Not you personally, but like that. And then the intelligence, the angels. Now, Dante has two doubts. Beatrice explains the second doubt first, and then the absolute will and relative will. In other words, if people force you to do something that you don't want to do, that's a relative will. But an absolute will is when you choose to die for your faith, sort of thing. Dante thanks Beatrice and expresses another doubt at the end of it all. So let's start. The two doubts. Intra due cibi, distanti e moventi d'un modo, prima si morria di fame, che al libero uomo l'un recasse ai denti. Sì, si starebbe un agno intra tra due brame di fieri lupi, ugualmente temendo. Sì, si starebbe un cane intra due dame, perché sì mi tacea, me non riprendo dai miei dubbi d'un modo sospinto, poiché era necessario né commendo. So he makes this analysis between the fieri lupi. Remember at the beginning of Inferno, there was una lupa, here there are lupi, but expressed as images. Ok? So, let's go on. Io mi tacea, ma il mio disir dipinto m'era nel viso e il dimandar con ello più caldo assai che parlar distinto. So, his doubts are in him. He doesn't express them, but Beatrice, she's smarter than him, she'll intervene and say, this is what you're thinking, I'm going to answer your questions, okay? Fe sì Beatrice, qual fe Daniello, Nabucodonosor, levando d'ira, again, a reference here to Babylonia of 605 to 562 avanti Cristo, etc. Nabucodonosor. Levando d'ira, che l'aveva fatto ingiustamente fello, e disse, io veggio ben come sti tira uno e l'altro di Sio, sicché tua cura se stessa lega, sicché fuor non spira. I'm going to look after the second part of you, the justice part, because this is where you need to understand in order not to go astray when you return to Florence. Tu argomenti, se il buon voler dura, la violenza altrui per qual ragione di meritarmi scema la misura. So, in the next to violence, altrui. Ancor di dubitarti dà cagione parer tornarsi l'anima alle stelle secondo la sentenza di Platone. So, Plato put those people who were forced to do the wrong thing, but, you know, to get them to return, because they were pure souls, to the place where they were born, to the planet in which they were born. Interesting Platonic philosophy. Queste sono le questioni che nel tuo velle puntano ugualmente, e però prima tratterò quella che più ha di fel. The one that's more important is the justice one. God's justice towards people, the souls in paradise and elsewhere, and also his compassion. So the justice one is more important, because you have to understand how to approach life according to the theological explanations and the theology that the church followed in the Middle Ages. Di Serafin colui che più s'india, so, Serafin sono gli angeli, Moisè, Samuele e quel Giovanni che prender vuoli, io dico non Maria, non hanno in altro cielo i loro scanni che questi spiriti che mo t'appariro, ne hanno all'essere lor più o meno anni. Ma tutti fanno bello il primo giro e differentemente han dolce vita per sentir più e men l'eterno spiro. So, all the souls feel the blessedness of God, and wherever they are placed, they are happy. They remain happy. It doesn't matter. It's like you driving a Cinquecento or a Rolls Royce. If you are happy with the Cinquecento, you're in a blessed state. And the same thing if you drive a Rolls Royce. But if you're unhappy with the Rolls Royce, the guy in the Cinquecento is richer than you, because the belief is pure. Think about this, the various philosophies that we can learn from Dante. Qui si mostraro non perché sortita sia questa sfera, lor, ma per far segno dalla celestial cammen salita. So they can go up more than they can. Così parlar conviensi al vostro ingegno, però che solo da sensato apprende ciò che fa poscia d'intelletto degno. Per questo la scrittura condescende a vostra facultate e piedi e mano attribuisce a Dio e altri intende. E Santa Chiesa con aspetto umano, Gabriele e Michel vi rappresenta, e l'altro che Tobia rifece sano. So here again, God's justice and compassion are given to the church to administer, but the church itself is of a human, it's run by humans. So therefore, imperfect beings who have been given freedom to choose between good and evil. And they have to administer, they have extra special powers. And if they misuse those powers as God's soldiers on earth, then they get a worse punishment than the person who doesn't do that, an ordinary person. That's why Christ said it's easier for the poor man to reach paradise, whereas it's harder for the rich guy. The one that has power has got to go through lago. You know, there are a lot of images, and my suggestion is that if you take this on, it's a lifelong pastime which you can take on into the third age and beyond. In other words, this can stay with me for the rest of my life here. And I'm hoping to be able to finish it and then enjoy listening and criticizing myself and seeing where I went wrong with it, where I didn't do enough work, where I was more prepared, etc., etc., etc. And that's what we do with our life. Okay, so here we go. This Michele è Santa Chiesa con aspetto umano, Gabriele e Michele vi rappresenta, e l'altro che Tobia rifece sano. Now, Tobia, Timeo dice, I'm looking at the notes here, I can't find Tobia. Where's Tobia? E l'arcangelo Raffaele che guarì dalla cecità il vecchio profeta Tobia. So, you know, the miracles that happened. Quel che Timeo dell'anima argomenta, Timeo was a philosopher Lucrece, protagonista dell'onio dialogo platonico in cui, come già detto, there are a lot of notes here. I can't do it, so I'll just keep going. Quel che Timeo dell'anima argomenta non è simile a ciò che qui si vede, però che, come dice, par che senta, dice che l'alma alla sua stella riede, credendo quella quindi esser decisa, quando natura per forma la diede. E forse sua sentenza è d'altra guisa, che la voce non suona, ed esser puote con intenzione da non essere derisa. Now, this is a difficult one, because dice che l'alma, welcome to Concetta della Salandra, and welcome, auguri per la tua salute. Dice che l'alma e la sua stella riede, credendo quella quindi essere decisa, quando natura per forma la diede. E forse sua tendenza è d'altra guisa, che la voce non suona, ed esser puote con intenzione da non essere derisa. Ma forse la sua opinione è diversa da quella, letteralmente significa, e potrebbe avere un intendimento, puote non ridere. Il poeta, attraverso le parole di Beatrice, non giunge ad una secca condanna della teoria platonica delle anime, ma anzi, secondo alcuni critici, pare lasci intravedere la possibilità di una conciliazione tra la teoria platonica e l'ortodossia cristiana. Infatti, una semplice condanna si sarebbe potuta concludere al verso 54 con la denuncia dell'errore di Timeo, mentre invece il discorso di Beatrice, caratterizzato dal significativo ripetersi dell'avverbio forse, continua facendo riferimento ad una possibile interpretazione non letterale delle parole di Platone. So, this is the question of the Christian orthodoxy, the Platonic philosophy, and also then in Dante's own time, you know, his discourse with Beatrice. So in other words, he's saying, here I am trying to understand all this, but I don't deny the work of the pre-Christian philosophers, because they were just as important for the development of Christian theology. That's a good one. I can be quoted on that one. Now, let's go on. Se egli intende tornare a queste ruote, l'onor della influenza e il biasimo forse in alcun vero suo arco percuote. Questo principio, male inteso, torse già tutto il mondo quasi, sì che Giove, Mercurio e Marte hanno una minor trascorsa. So this thing of justice, trying to work it out, they made the mistake, the Platonic philosophy, of giving the planets the status of gods. But this was before Christ. He wasn't looking at Judaism or later Islam. Judaism, Dante doesn't mention much of Judaism in his Christian, in here. He'd rather look at the philosophy of people who were pure at heart and tried to deliver humanity or humans towards the right path in life. Okay, so that was about justice. Now, l'altra dubitazione, now we're going to look at how the souls are distributed in heaven. L'altra dubitazione che ti commuove, amen velen, però che sua malizia non ti poria menar da me altrove. Parere ingiusta la nostra giustizia negli occhi di mortali, è argomento di fede e non d'eretica nequizia. Ma perché puote vostro accorgimento bene penetrar a questa veritate, come disiri ti farò contento. So Beatrice says, I'm going to lecture you about this idea of compassion in heaven by God. It's not easy for you to understand because you're a mortal, but I'm going to try to, explain it to you. Se violenza è quanto quel che pate niente conferisce a quel che sforza, ma fuor quest'alme per essere scusate, che volontà se non vuol non s'ammorza, ma fa come natura face in fuoco, se 1000 volte violenza il torza. Perché se ella si piega assai o poco, segue la forza, e così questa fero possendo rifugiar nel santo loco. Se fosse stato lor volere intero, come tenne Lorenzo in su la grada e fece Muzio alla sua man severa, così l'avria ripinte per la strada. Ma così salda voglia è troppo rada. So, if you are extreme in your fight, and you do what St. Lawrence did, in other words, he said, kill me, I'd rather die than deny my faith. Or Muzio Scevolo, Muzio cut his hands off. The Greek and Roman worlds come back to the Middle Ages men and women in the highest level of dominion by the church. In the 13th and 14th century. They had achieved a lot. The Crusades were on. The church became slowly but surely corrupt at that time. There was the popes went to France. There was a lot of bloodshed, both internally within Europe, and outside in the Middle Ages, with the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire in 1453. That's when the Ottomans took over, and that's when the Eastern Roman Empire was finished, whereas the Western one, the Roman one, finished in 413 with the edict by Constantine of the division between the Church of the West, controlled by Rome, and the Church of the East that was then to be controlled by Constantinople. Okay? That's a bit of history which needs to be sort of mentioned. All right, so se fosse stato lor volere intero, come tenno Lorenzo in sulla grada, e fece Muzio alla sua man severo, così l'avria ripinte per la strada ond'eran tratte come fuore sciolte. Ma così salda voglia e troppo rada, e per queste parole, se ricolte l'hai come dei e l'argomento casso, così che t'avria fatto noi ancor più volte. Ma ora s'attraversa un altro passo dinanzi agli occhi, tal che per lo te stesso non uscireste, pria saresti lasso. So this is important for Dante to keep following Beatrice's lead here, otherwise he'd be lost. Io t'ho per certo nella mente messo calma beata non poria mentire, però che sempre al primo vero appresso, e poi potesti da piccarde udire che l'affezion del vel costanza tenne, sicché la par qui meco contradire. Molte fiate già, frate, addivenne, che per fuggir periglio incontro grato si fe di quel che far non si convenne. Come Almeone, che di ciò pregato dal padre suo la propria madre spense per non perdere pietà, si fe spietato. Now this is interesting. Almeone. L'esempio di Almeone da un lato accentua il valore del principio generale esposto nella terzina precedente con il peso dell'autorità degli antichi, dall'altro anticipa la distinzione tra volontà assoluta e volontà relativa, che sarà meglio chiarire nei versi successivi. Almeone, figlio di Anfiarao e Erifile, uno dei 7 re che assediarono Tebe, il padre, dedito all'arte divinatoria, aveva saputo che sarebbe dovuto morire in guerra e perciò si nascose. Ma la moglie Erifile, corrotta, rivelò il suo nascondiglio, per cui Anfiarao, tornato a combattere, fu inghiottito da un crepaccio a perdersi nel terreno per volere di Giove e morendo auspicò e predisse di essere vendicato dal figlio Stazio Tebaide. Il raccolto è ripreso anche da Ovidio nella Metamorfosi. Il termine derivato dal latino pietas è usato in senso religioso e si pone in chiaro contrasto con spietato. So, these are notes done by great studenti di Dante, people teaching universities, and that's why, you know, Dante is a very special study, but and a lot of people want to go deeper and deeper into it. And of course, when they do that, sometimes, like I've just done, you digress into many different areas, perdi il filo. Mentre io quello che voglio fare, what I want to do, è leggere soltanto il canto per apprezzare la poesia, ma senza troppe spiegazioni. Adesso lo sto dando perché sono ritornato a questo punto. I've returned to this, therefore I've had 3 months in which to reassess Paradiso, because when I started I said, ma che cosa succede qua? Dante is dealing with something greater than himself. I better stop and think about it, and that's what I've done. So I'm assuming that as I move on each week now, I will be able to speak more clearly about Paradiso, ok? A questo punto voglio che tu pensa che la forza al voler si mischia e fanno sì che scusar non si possono l'offense. La forza al voler si mischia, volere e potere, no? The fault here, you got to manage this. Voglia assoluta non consente al danno. If you truly believe, you will face anything and be true to yourself. So that's voglia assoluta. But a relative one is you try to work it out, like our politicians. They try to work things out. But the Pope can't. He has to say what he thinks regardless of the consequences, because that's God's will on earth. So he has a greater responsibility and a greater damage to his soul if he gets it wrong. Ok. Voglia assoluta non consente al danno, ma consentevi intanto in quanto teme, se si ritrae cadere in più affanno. Però quando piccarda quello spreme della voglia assoluta intende, e io dall'altra, sì che verdiciamo insieme. Cotal fu l'ondeggiar del santo rio, che uscine dal fonte ond'ogni verde riva, tal puose in pace uno e altro di sia. So when she crossed the river, she was, when she crossed the river, and Dante asked, why are you here and not further up? He says, because I'm here. I'm happy where I live in paradise. I got here, no? What do you ask me that question for? Poor Dante. He was put in his place by Costanza as soon as he arrived in paradise. O ammazza del primo amante, o diva, dissi io appresso, il cui parlar m'inonda e scalda sì che più e più m'avviva. Non è l'affezion mio tanto profonda che basti a rendere voi grazia per grazia, ma quei che vede e puote a ciò risponda. So he says, thank you, Beatrice. Grazie mille. You're illuminating my doubts. I can't understand, but you are doing it for me. Io veggio ben che giammai non si sazia nostro intelletto, se il ver non lo illustra di fuori, dal qual nessun vero si spazia. So the truth is like a pissing, it pisses you through your brain. Because that's God's will, is based on truth, for justice, misericordia, and we can't always accept that. Why should my sister die now? Why was my niece dead at 28? My wife at 67. How do you understand all these things? Dad used to say, quando si spegne la candela. There was a Platonic type of explanation. Quando la candela si spegne, ce ne andiamo. Boom. That's it. No worries about the afterlife. Te ne vai and you stay there. Somebody with faith, he says, yes, but questo è solo il principio. Questo è il principio. Tu finisci qua e cominci l'altro. And that's where faith comes in. Posai in esso come fera illustra, tosto che giunto là, aggiunge il pollo, se non ciascun di sio sarebbe frustra. Nasce per quello a guisa di rampollo, a piede del vero il dubbio, ed è natura al qual sommo pinge noi di collo in collo. Questo mi invita, questo m'assicura che reverenza, donna, a dimandarvi di un'altra verità che mi oscura. So he's going to say, all right, you've explained all this, now I'm going to ask you another question. Io vo saper se l'uomo può soddisfarvi ai voti manchi, sì che in altri beni, che la vostra statera non sia parvi. So he says, io desidero sapere se l'uomo possa compensare i voti inadempiuti dinanzi al vostro cospetto, che non appaiono di poco peso, non siano parvi alla bilancia del vostro giudizio. Di voi corte celeste, l'aggettivo quindi non va riferito alla sola Beatrice, ma a Dio e con tutti i beati. So this is, io voglio sapere se l'uomo può soddisfarvi ai voti manchi, sì con altri beni. So, how can we satisfy you and be in your presence? Beatrice mi guardò con gli occhi pieni di faville d'amor così divine. And so she was, she was the angel. She said, oh, well, this guy here is going through, so I better look after him. Because she's accompanying Dante. So every time Dante comes up with a question about theology, about the afterlife, Beatrice has to respond until she can respond no more towards the end. When we get to the Emperor, and then Beatrice, like Virgilio, leaves Dante. And that's when his trip in the afterlife finishes. But before he goes, he sees the great light in the universe. I'm getting a bit emotional here. Beatrice mi guardò con gli occhi pieni di faville d'amor così divini, che vinta mia virtute die le reni e quasi mi perdei con gli occhi chini. It's been a tough one, this one, Canto 4, coming at this time. It's a great reflection. So I hope you've enjoyed this one here. I'm going to now have a drink, take a moment, and then we'll go to my poem. Something about, if you're in paradise, sorry about that, but you know how it is. I wrote from this book here, Amica Poesia, it's 12:37. I'm supposed to finish at 1:55. So we still got time for this and for my song. So stay tuned. We're going to now proceed with the rest of the program, which consists of reading from my poetry book, and also from, then I'll give you Cora all'improvviso, and this week I've got 5 or 6 songs with Cora, with Dora and Rina Marchese. Stay tuned. It's an interesting hour, really and truly. Now I need something to wipe my nose. 1 minute. Ok, I'm better now. Le rose. C'è qualcosa di molto speciale riguardo alle rose. Queste sono le patrizie fra un gran numero di fiori. Le rose vengono in molti colori, hanno una varietà di tessuti, possono essere grandi o piccole e soprattutto attraggono per la loro fragranza. Un giardino di rose ti dà un'esaltante esperienza di bellezza. Però devi starti attento. Il cespuglio delle rose è pericoloso per il nostro corpo e pelle umana. Le rose crescono alla fine di ramoscelli di spine. Ti puoi far male un po' o di più. Una rosa quasi obietta ad essere colta o presa, anche se la sua tenuta di vita è momentanea come la vita stessa. Da un piccolo bozzolo compatto balza un raggiante profumato fiore colorato. Un mazzo di queste rose sono un raro premio da donare in occasioni di gran rilievo. Man mano che matura, una rosa perde tutta la sua stretta di vita. Le sue foglie cadono in rotta. Queste quasi ti chiedono di essere usate come tu vuoi. Difatti le foglie di rose vengono buttate durante le feste, usate nella manifattura di profumo ed anche in cucina ed altro. Una rosa è la naturale alleata del poeta quando questi ha bisogno di fare una semplice analogia con la vita. Per questa ragione, con il passare dei miei anni, la rosa ha spesso preso il posto d'onore in alcune delle mie poesie. So this is the chapter within the chapter of the 3rd chapter of Amica Poesia. Each one of these, I've got 2 sets of these. The first one that covers 3 themes, and then this second one, another 3. I should have had by now at least 6 or 7 or 10 of these bilingual works, but la vita è quello che è, si fa quello che si può, e a volte le cose cambiano. Okay, the first poem is only short, and then I'm going to finish with this, and I will go then to my work, with the songs. Before I read it, let me see. Yes. Yes. It's got to come up now. Oh, well, never mind. I'm trying to, before I read the poem, the computer, see, went dead. Now, how do I do it? Huh? July 12. Ah, here we are. I've got it. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Thank you, iCloud. Without you, and by the way, iCloud, in terms of, iCloud is not in the clouds. There are machines in New York that gather all our information. So somebody looks after them. God bless you for what you're doing. It's very important work for humanity and the world in general. Okay, this is my first poem on La Rosa. It's Un bocciolo. Only 3 lines. Un bocciolo mi dà tanta speranza, il suo aprirsi tanta gioia, il suo spandersi tanto dolore. Now I have to get myself, how do I turn this around? Here we go. There we are. And this is the poem from my book, Amica Poesia, there. I don't have Mica Poesia, the Italian version, I don't have many copies. I've got the English version of this book, and the other one I intend to now proceed and get a printer to do it, okay? But now we're going to go to Coro all'improvviso. Here we go. And this is Coro all'improvviso number 12. Number 12. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Oh, probably there's no need, but anyway, let me see if I can make it bigger. Yes, here we are. There we are. Okay, that's the first one. This was in July, 12th of July. I got them to smile. And we start after this. Here we are. Here I am on the 30th of July, 2023, again with Dora and Rina. I've just come from Insegna, where I did my first Italian lesson of Series 2. But today, we're going to sing some lovely songs here this afternoon. And we're going to start with Arte Cafe. Okay, and Dora is a specialist in this. So it should be all right. Okay, let's have a look, Rita. No? Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Let's go, let's go. Oh, if you're still watching, you can comment on what I say. Are you still watching? A few people. But anyway, let's go. Grazie caffè, Dora and Rita. Come on. Sapete perché se non venite, partite sempre a faccia mangiata, ma voi quando più brutte le facite, più bella all'occhio mi presentate, e voi non saccio si ve ne accorgite. Ma in questo modo le brigide, faccia per parite, sottenito zucchero e coppa maresite, ma i tanti che già con dolce sotto la cazza fino alla bocca d'arrivare. Più tempo passa più va raffreddata, invece scalda che squisite, o belle case pure leggerate, si caratterizza con caffè granite, facendo una concorrenza limonata. Ma questi modo in brigida, faccia per parite, coppa maresite, e tanto che già butta, e tanto che già gira, con dolce sotto la tazza fino alla bocca ma t'arriva. La mamma della portadora, bellezza mia figlia cantare, se vuoi vederti da cambia cuore, mi faccia carte per s'andare, bella pariglia fosse l'amore, ma giusti muore, rigide, faccia caffè parite, sotto tenuto il zucchero e in coppa mare site, ma già che già montare, e tanto che già gira, col dolce sotto la cazza fino a bocca per arrivare. Ma tu stimolo e rigida, faccia caffè parite, sotto tenuto il zucchero e in coppa mare site, ma già che già montare, e tanto che già gira, col dolce sotto la cazza fino a bocca per arrivare. Hopla, here we go. It's a cold winter afternoon here in Melbourne, and we're going to attempt now this beautiful song called Tick 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 Tock. And I think Carl Miller used to sing it. But this afternoon, it's Rena and myself. Let's have a try. And Dora says, I know it, so it should be fine. Rena, tick, 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 tock, and Dora. Come on, Dora. Bella mia, un bacio tu, ma perché un bacetto negli anelli? Furba, tu dici sempre no, ma so già che ti va e già pensi me lo dà. Pure i colori fan così, van di qua, van di là, poi si baciano che fa. Dolce baciare con brutà, mia, dopo che star così. Gira, rigira, benzina, l'amore, la vita, godere ci fa. Quando ti vengo vicino, il mio cuore sempre fa chiquità. Gira, rigira, benzina, l'amore, la vita, godere ci fa. Quando ti vengo vicino, il mio cuore sempre fa chiquità. Quando stasera aspetterò che papà a dormire se ne va. Su come un gatto e venerdì salterò e del fuoco già canterò. Dritto le scale salirò, verrò su, ma la porta mi apri tu. Ah, se si sveglia il tuo papà, che lo so, già lo so, che non poco passerò. Gira, rigira, benzina, l'amore, la vita, la felicità. Gira, rigira, l'amore, la vita, godere ci fa. Quando ti vengo vicino, il mio cuore sempre fa chiquità. Dice il proverbio mio, gioventù, se ne va non torna più. Passa la vita così, la verità di mamma e la pipa di papà. Rosa, garofone che so, e le clienti e il bouquet ci vorrebbero per te. Ma se un marito sogni tu, già si sa, il marito eccolo qua. Gira, rigira, benzina, l'amore, la vita, godere ci fa. Quando ti vengo vicino, il mio cuore sempre fa chiquità. Gira, rigira, benzina, l'amore, la vita, godere ci fa. Quando ti vengo vicino, il mio cuore sempre fa chiquità. Gira, rigira, benzina, l'amore, la vita, godere ci fa. Quando ti vengo vicino, wow, that was a good one. Next one. That's a bit of a picture there in between songs. Here we go. The third song of the first set of, this one here, it's Choral Improviso, number 12. Yes, number 12. So this is the third song, and it's a song that was very close to Angela's heart. It's called Tengo un appartamento a New York di Carosone. He wanted to do a calzone special, and we're doing it for him. Right now, we're going to do it.
Yeah, we're going to do
You're
it.
taking an appartamento in New York?
Yeah.
Okay. You're taking an appartamento a New York? Ce l'abbiamo, sì?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, let's start. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, scrive canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo la guagliona a New York, ma che già fa? Sì signore, l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il tuo cuore. Non mi dire pace, non sono felice, Napoli senza di te. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, e faccio i dollari, ma pensa a te. Yes, yes, ma già imparato a parlare. Yes, right. È tutto ok, ma succede che tenga America, non è un cielo che viene tu. Yes, yes, ma già imparato a parlare. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, scrive canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo pure a guaglione a New York, ma che già fa? Sì signore, l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il tuo cuore. Non mi dà pace, sono felice, Napoli senza di te. Dora. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, scrive canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo pure la guagliona a New York, ma che già fa? Sì signore, l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il tuo cuore. Non mi dà pace, sono felice, Napoli senza di te. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, scrive canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, scrive canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo pure guaglione a New York, ma che già fa? Sì signore, l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il cuore. Non mi dà pace, non sono felice, Napoli senza di te. Beautiful. Did you like that? I enjoyed that very much. Now this one here. We tried this one, You Take an Appartamento in New York, type 1. We're not really happy with it, so we decided to do it again. And you can do it again too, because that's what happens when you're learning songs. Sometimes canzone is hard to, especially with this one here. They got a lot of musical instruments, and yeah, as Dora says, it's a question of precision. You got to be precise, otherwise it doesn't go, even if the music is not there. And that's Dora for you. Okay, we're going to do it again. Rena, Dora, you take an appartamento a New York. Type 2. Let's go. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street, scrive canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo pure guaglione a New York, ma che già fa? Sì signore, l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il tuo cuore. Non mi dà pace, non sono felice, Napoli senza di te. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Mulberry Street,
e faccio i dollari, ma pensa a te. Yes, yes, ma oggi ho imparato a parlare. Yes, right, è tutto ok, tutto right, ma sul cielo che tenga America non è un cielo che tiene tu. Yes, yes, ma oggi ho imparato a parlare.
Due.
Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Marlborough Street, ci va la canzone e faccio i dollari. Io tengo pure guaglione a New York, ma che già fa, il signore l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il cuore, non mi dà pace, non sono felice, Napoli senza di te. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Marlborough Street, e faccio i dollari, ma pensa a te. Yes, yes, ma oggi ho imparato a parlare. Yes, right, è tutto ok, tutto right, ma sul cielo che tenga America non è un cielo che tiene tu. Yes, yes, ma oggi ho imparato a parlare. Io tengo un appartamento a New York, a parte il Marlborough Street, scrivo le canzoni e faccio i dollari. Io tengo pure guaglione a New York, ma che già fa, sì signore l'America è bella, ma la dice che tengo il tuo cuore, non mi dà pace, non so felice, Napoli senza di te. A parte il Marlborough Street, scrive canzoni, fine, e pensa a te, olè, e pensa a te, olè, e pensa a te,
This is choral improviso number 12, and this is the second set.
Now we're going to stop there.
3 songs that we're going to do.
I'm going to stop there.
Dean Martin.
Time is up for the singing part. We've done 3 songs. I'll do another 3 next week. I hope you've enjoyed the program today. I've come back to Dante Alighieri after, August, early August, September, October, and it's early November. So it's about 3 months or 2 months, August, September, October. No, 2 months, September, October. No, 3 months, yeah, 3 months. So after 3 months, we've come back and bigger and stronger than ever. I'll keep going now, and thank you very much for coming on. Here it says, bring them on video. I don't know what it means, but I've pressed it, and I'll try to get the people come on when I'm actually doing these programs. I will try to press it and see if you can come on and you can make comments. I'm learning slowly but surely, but getting better at all this. So thank you very much once again. This was Canto 4, and on the 12th of November 2023. Remembering my sister Carmela. Okay, ciao. Until next time, from Tom Padula of TomPadulaTV on YouTube and Insegna Booksellers. Okay, finish off.